I'm Christine Marciano, Regional Vice President for FirstChoice in the South Central region. And this morning, my guest is Tyler McGee, the Managing Partner of Unbridled Insurance. Welcome, Tyler.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Good to be here.
Thank you. I've got a question on my mind for you. What made you join FirstChoice 18 months ago? And what has that journey been like for you?
I actually didn't know about FirstChoice, and I was talking to one of my carrier territory reps, one of the ones I'm closest to. And I was just telling her I was a little frustrated and honestly kind of nervous about being completely by myself. So I bought an agency in 21, and I was looking at the landscape and thought, man, I don't know if being just completely by myself is the best thing for me. And that there's a lot that means. But she asked me, I told her a couple of the companies I looked into, and she said, hey, have you heard of FirstChoice? It's a MarshBerry company. I said, I don't know who either of those companies are. She's like, you should look into them. So I filled out a form and we started talking right after that. And I quickly found out that FirstChoice was very different than what I'd been looking for, and was exactly what I was looking for in one aspect, and a lot more than I knew that I needed to be looking for in other aspects. So super great decision. And I thank my territory rep for that, because FirstChoice was not on my radar at all, really.
Interesting. I'm curious if you can tell me how FirstChoice has supported your growth, whether it's been resources, relationships, or other opportunities along the way.
Probably too many ways to count, honestly. I mean, after InMotion and our regional last year, we completely redid our tech stack. And doing that saved us about $30,000 a year, just over $30,000 a year. And that was huge, because we just had the wrong technology for the size agency we were. So we did that, but I wouldn't have had the confidence to make those decisions if I wasn't sitting by other agency owners, because I had this belief that we were on a platform that was the only platform that would work for the type of business we wrote. And then there's a guy sitting to my right who said, hey, we just made this transition and we actually have 100 employees, and way bigger than I was, right? He's 10x or more than I was. And so it just gave me the confidence to listen to peers and to make grounded decisions, and introduced me to things that I just didn't know. And then I was also kind of flying blind. I'd been in business development for a long time. I knew what KPIs were, I knew what SOPs were, I knew all this stuff, but I didn't know them in insurance. And so working with you and being introduced to other people at MarshBerry gave me actual written resources to see where's the industry at, how much should I be paying people, when do I graduate their pay, how should I structure their compensation, are we tracking with the best of the best, or are we average, are we below average on our P&L? So just all of those resources, those are things that I had no idea how robust of a resource I was going to get from my FirstChoice membership. And that's been a game changer for our business. It's been a huge blessing, honestly, because I had reasons that I wanted to join, but I've gotten so much more than those simple reasons that I joined.
That sounds like a lot.
It is a lot, yeah.
It sounds like a lot to absorb, digest, and deal with in just a short 18 months.
Yeah.
What advice would you have for anyone else considering a FirstChoice membership and how they could make their most out of their first year?
Yeah. Man, I would say do it for the right reasons. So for me, there was some real financial benefit, right? We made more money because of aggregation of premium. That was a real consideration. We saved money through technology savings. Those were really important. And those were some of the biggest decision makers that I had in the very beginning. But the other things that I've kind of already mentioned have been more meaningful for long-term growth. And I just didn't know that was going to be the case. And I'm super thankful that's the case. But I would say make your decision for the right reasons. And then once you make the decision, really engage. So I made a commitment to you, but I also made it to myself. When I did this, I was going to engage. I'm going to be at the regional meetings that are in person, which has been huge. I mean, I told you earlier this week about a broker relationship I got that's helped us win a huge piece of business. But meeting the other owners last night, I spent time with guys that have been in this industry for 20 plus years. And so I would just say engage, show up at the meetings, meet people, stay connected, find ways to get involved. And then also reach out to whoever your Christine is, whatever your regional person is, and ask them for help. 2 to 3 times a year, I ask you for something very specific. And you always are super gracious and well-equipped to help me with those things. So connecting me to people for help me with acquisition targets or banking relationships. I mean, I literally go to you and say, hey, who do you know? And that's been super valuable because I didn't have anybody to do that with in the industry until I joined FirstChoice. And now I do.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay. One last question.
Yeah.
Can you give me one insight that has helped you develop either operationally or strategically with your FirstChoice membership?
Yeah.
Just one.
Yeah. I would say last year at InMotion, there was a keynote and it broke down, I mentioned this earlier, but it broke down compensation for like different producers at different ages. And so sitting in that, watching the graphs, taking pictures of the screenshots of the data that was on the screen and seeing like, this is where the industry's at, but, and this is the big one for me, this is where the top 25 is at for the industry. So if you want to be average, here's your numbers, but how do I find that if I'm not present in FirstChoice? So leaning into that has been huge for me because I know what the top performers in my industry at my size and the next size up, I know what they're doing and I have real targets to chase. And the things that we talk about as a team in our agency of, well, you know, what's our PIF count, what's our revenue goals, what's our retention goals, what are we looking for? It's all based off who the top performers are in our industry at the size we're at and one size beyond us. And that's been huge.
I love it. Thank you for being a part of our family.
My pleasure.
It's a pleasure to be a part of yours.
You're awesome.
Thanks, Tyler.
Thanks.